So we got question 1 here. If 30% of a number is 45, what is 4/5 of that number? I don't want to know the answer. I want to know how. Yeah, so the 30% is 3/10, yes?
45 is 45 by 3.
Why?
I'm not too sure. It's like the lowest figure this one question.
Yeah, and why did you divide the 45 by the 3? And I want to know why for everything. Alright. Caitlin, any ideas? This one give you problems, right? Now let me tell you something. You guys are no longer the plebs at the bottom echelons of education. You guys are now gifted with the powers of algebra. And algebra, the language of mathematics, is very powerful superpower because you could use algebra to solve anything. Just because it's a number theory question doesn't mean that I can't use algebra, because 30% of a number, so 30%, and I'll write out the 30% here, of a number is 45. You see? And when you use algebra, 30% of a number is 45. Then life becomes a whole lot easier, because now I have no such thing as, well, why did you divide by 3? Now you could see why you need to divide by 3, because we could cancel off this, so we could see here that 3x over 10, because I multiplied this numerator here, and well, this is over 1, right? So 3x over 10 is equal to 45. 3x is equal to 450, right? X is equal to 450 divided by 3. And I hope you guys know how I got 450 here when I carry the 10 across. Yeah. So now x is equal to what? 150. So 150 is the number, 30% of a number. So 150 is the number. What I want, and 150 is here, but it's not the answer, because they didn't ask you for the number. You had to find out what the number is, but they asked you what is 4/5 of the number. So therefore, 4/5 of, and of generally means multiply in mathematics, of the number 150. That is 5 3s are 15, 4 3s are 12, and the answer is actually 120. Alright, you all got it right? Right. But how did you get it right? That is my question. How? And
so, I actually do exactly what you put. For some reason, I was calling it is over all.
You was calling it what?
Is over all.
Is over of.
I don't know why I was calling it that. I guess because I see of and I see is, but.
Oh, you was okay.
Now that I'm looking back at it, it's not actually is over all, but.
Dog, I'm not really too sure what you're trying to say. What is divided by of? Is that what you're trying to say? You know?
Yeah, I was calling it that, but like I have exactly what you have with the 3 over 10 multiplied by the x over 1 and everything.
Right.
I don't know why I was calling it that.
Caitlin, you okay with this?
Yeah.
Now you notice how they had the 150 here. Sorry, Caitlin, what are you saying? Caitlin was saying something? No? You notice how they have the 150 here? And this is the thing, because a lot of people prefer this multiple choice, because the multiple choice had the answers, so you can always see if you have. But no, because my job as a teacher is, yes, I'll have the correct answer here, but these answers here are not random, you know. What I have to do as a teacher is I have to think of all of the mistakes that you would make, and then actually make those mistakes and get those answers here. So these answers come from the conventional mistakes. So you could make a mistake in a multiple choice and see the answer and think you get it right because you see the answer. So please know, in a multiple choice, just because you see the answer here does not mean that it's right. You work it out, and what you work on gives you an answer. It don't mean that it's right just because the answer is there. A lot of people think, well, the answer there, so that had to be it. No, because the job of a person who is setting the multiple choice is to actually think of all of the mistakes that the student would make and put those mistakes as the alternate answer. So you will make a mistake, get an answer, see it there, think it right, and then get it wrong. Oh God, this primary school thing. Where's the answer? Quick. A, right? All you need to do is draw the line. You put the 1 where the dot is, 0, 0, so you can see it's 2 over 100. And again, some people would make the mistake and multiply 2 hundredths, because you know they say 2 hundredths, and so they might multiply it. Or maybe they might put the 1 in the wrong place and end up get 2 over 10. Yeah? So, you know, they're actually thinking about the mistakes that you're making. Where's this one? So yeah, so the answer is BY. And this is something that we kind of skipped. I did it with my last class, but I talked about it a little bit in this class. What is the difference between factors and multiples? Anybody? What's the difference? Think about the factors as being the smaller ones and the multiples as being the bigger ones. So for example, the factors of 20 would be the smaller numbers that could go into 20, like 1, 2, 5, 10, and of course 20 is a factor of itself. Multiples of 20 are those bigger numbers, or those numbers bigger than 20 that you multiply. So 20 multiplied by 1 is 20. 20 multiplied by 2 is 40, 60, 80. So all of the bigger numbers are the multiples, and all of the smaller numbers are the factors. So they're looking for the highest common factor. So a factor is a smaller number, so it must be smaller than 12, 15, or 60. If the 15 wasn't here, your answer would have actually been 12, because 12 could go into 60 and 12 could go into itself. But because that 15 is there, 12 cannot go into 15, so your answer has to be 3. Right? That is the highest common factor. 60, it can't be 60 because 60 is greater than 12 and 15. So 60 is actually a multiple of 12 and 15 because it's bigger. So it's not a factor, right? What percentage of 40 is 8? Come fast, somebody.
B20.
B20. So you see Ariel have a hot mouth, and Ariel gonna start to answer all of these questions here, and everybody else gonna stay quiet and say, hey, let Ariel do it. You know? So I'm watching that. Right. So what I need, Ariel, I don't think Ariel knows about the order. But what I need here is Y. Could somebody else tell me why? What percentage of 40 is 8? How you work that out?
I put
8 over 40. Very good. Alright. What percentage of 40 is 8? So 8 out of 40 multiplied by 100 over 1. That's a very good thing. 2, so you get 20B, right? Nice reasoning. But as I said, algebra is a superpower. So you could work this out using algebra. What percentage? So it's an unknown percentage of 40 equals 8. So you're seeing that we just using algebra here and it's just simply a different way of working it out. So now we have 4x is equal to 80 because I threw this 10 across. X is equal to 80 divided by 4, and you get 20 is your answer. Right? So algebra, think about if you're ever given these worded questions and it's taking a long time to figure out, trust me, algebra is a superpower that you guys now have. Right? It has helped you in life and thing too. Now, be careful with this question, because when we studied multiplying decimals, right, we were saying that, hey, you just need to look, you multiply these two guys like if they were whole numbers, just as normal. And then you just need to look at the decimal spaces, 1, 2, 3, and that is the amount of decimal spaces you'll have in your answer, right? But at the end of the day, whilst I taught you guys that in class, and that is the conventional way of multiplying decimals, it actually does not work here in this question. And why it doesn't work here in this question is because of this pesky 0. That 0 over there that was added, right, is a problem. Yeah? How did anybody work this question out? What are some ways to work this out?
So I can answer. Okay. So what I did, I shifted the points, like make the numbers a whole number.
So basically, if you multiply by 100, 1, 2, and then 1, 2, and so that's 4, 30, and 37, right? And then that means you have to carry this 1, 2, and so that's 159.1.
Yes.
Right. And what now?
That's not. So when I multiply the answer, the equation, I shift back the point. I think I did something wrong.
Don't worry about that. What's the final answer you get?
159.1.
159.1. Well, that's actually the correct answer. But as I say, it's not about the correct answer, it's about the why, and it's about fully understanding the why. Now, if it is, we count the decimal spaces here, 1, 2, 3, we'll see the answer here have 3 decimal spaces. So what people would normally do is they'll say, well, all right, it's the same thing, just count the decimal spaces, 1, 2. And then we'll see here 1, 2, well, all right, the answer must be B. But because of the 0 here, you did that. Yeah, but because of the 0 there, you would get that wrong, and let's see why. Let's just multiply 370 by 43, right? So 3 times 0 is 0. 7 3s are 21, right? 3 3s are 9, 10, 11, right? Then we'll have to pass 0 here. 4 times 0 is 0, you see? So we have this extra 0 column, yeah? 4 times 0 is 0. 7 4s are 28, and I'll put our next 2 there. And 4 3s are 12, 13, 14. So when we add it now, we have this extra 0 column, 1, 9, 5, 1. And now it's 0.43. So now we could count the 2 decimal places, 4 and 3. So we see the 2 decimal spaces here and here. And you put your decimal there. So this C is actually the answer. So be real careful with this, especially when it comes to this 0 business here, because of the 0 means that you ended up having an extra column of zeros, and so that counting the decimal thing would have been misleading. Yeah, so be real careful with that. But that'll only happen if you have a 0 at the end of one of your answers, right? If it didn't have no zeros, you could have just counted your decimals normal. What about this one? What to do with this one? And remember, we don't have a calculator. So, Caitlin, tell me what you do for this.
Okay. 0.00 division by 11.1, and then I moved to that method from the 0.014, and then reducing to 11.1.
You move it to the same amount.
Yeah.
Right. So essentially, and that's correct. Now, what are we actually doing there? You have 11.1 being divided by 0.01. What we're actually doing is we're multiplying both numbers by 100. And why does this work? It works because what we're actually doing is we're multiplying it by 1. If you multiply this by 1, it doesn't change anything. When you multiply something by 1, there is no change. So we're not changing anything. So to multiply it by 1, we do that. 100 over 100 is 1. So now we can multiply both, and we'll get 1 on the bottom here, and we'll get 1110 on top there. And so the answer is D. Yeah? Number 7, I've never given you guys a standard form question in a test, not this term anyway, but we did do standard form. So let me see, somebody quick. Shazay? Or I know you probably missed the standard form class though, but let me see you let me see if you remember.
Is it D?
Yes, it is D. Anybody could tell me why? And I know that Shazay and Ariel trying to play catch up. So I don't know if you guys reached the standard form class yet. Right? Shazay, I'm not even sure if you're doing any catch up right now.
Yes.
I had A, but I know why.
You know why. Yeah, right?
Yes.
So remember, you can see all of this is what we want in standard form. In standard form, we want a number between 1 and 10. So it's not like you're going to put 0.3 or 34.6. No, it has to be 3.46. And if you want 3.46, right? If you have 3.46 and you want to get back this as your answer, what do you have to do? You have to carry this decimal place 1, 2 spaces in that direction. So that means that you'll have, because it's that direction, it'll be a negative index, negative 2 spaces. So if 3.46 is being multiplied by 10 to the negative 2, this will go 2 spaces, 1, 2. So you will actually get back your answer, 0.0346. Caitlin, you okay here? Yeah, Caitlin and Scotia, you all got that right or nah?
Yeah.
Alright. Alright, Caitlin and Scotia, give me one of these.
A of C.
Sorry, C?
Yeah.
Alright. At the end of the day, 350 is shared in a ratio. So if I have 2 parts and Ariel have 5 parts, then I have 2 parts, Ariel have 5 parts, so we have 7 parts in total. Right? So if we have 7 parts in total, that means that the smaller share, I get the smaller share. So I get 2 out of the 7 parts. Right? And the 2 out of the 7 of the total. 7 5s are 35, 5 2s are 10, 100 is C. Right? Now, at the end of the day, ratios is something that I was supposed to do with you guys in number theory. And because I wanted to start algebra so quickly, I ended up skipping it. Right? I ended up skipping ratios. I probably just touched on it for like 2 minutes. Right? So ratios is definitely probably a topic that I'd want to get back to. And I'll ask you all, I'll actually ask you all a ratios question at the end of this class. But it's a crazy ratios question.
So you could just scroll back up and just write down the answer. I didn't have that answer. I had 70.
Oh, how'd you get that?
2 into 350 and 5 into 250.
Right, 2. So 2, you mean 350 divided by 2?
Yeah.
Right, and you see they have 70 there, right? Yeah, so you see that that they would have thought of the mistakes that you made, and they would have put the answer there. So same thing as saying, right? They will actually think about your mistakes and put those answers there. So what we're saying is that we're sharing this money in a ratio of 2 parts to 5 parts. So that means that you have 7 parts total. And out of those 7 parts, I have 2 out of the 7 parts. Right? And Ariel, you would have 5 out of the 7 parts. But we don't care about what you have, we only care about what I have, because I have the smaller share. So the smaller share is 2/7 of the total 350. Right? Now 350 represents 7 over 7. Right? 350 is the total. Right? So that means that you'll have, well, you just do the maths. Yeah? So now we have 2 by 50 is 100, and 100 is the answer. Right? You understand it?
Yeah.
Right. Now at the end of the day, I probably will take a class and focus on ratios, because ratios is a really important topic, and it is a lot more important than you think. A lot more important than you think. Right? So definitely I should spend a little bit of time on ratios there. So there are 40 students in a class. Girls make up 60% of the class. 25% of the girls wear glasses. How many girls wear glasses? Who's doing this? Sure. Yes, Caitlin. So wait, who was just talking to me?
Ariel.
Okay, all right. Yes, Ariel. Actually, you know what? Ariel, take a back seat and let Caitlin do it.
Okay.
Yeah? All right, Caitlin, let me hear it. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. Okay, so I've got the 14 total students, and how much that I'll be 60% of the class.
So 60% of 40, is that what you did?
Yeah.
So zap, 6 4s, that's so 24 kids total in the class. No, 24 total girls, I mean.
Yeah.
Alright, and then what?
I took the amount of girls and I took it over 40 and most of the kids at the time.
Right. I don't think you needed to put the 24 over the 40 though. Right. Ariel?
Yeah, so I had so the total number of girls is 24. And I want to find 25% of the 24.
Right. So you want to find. So you see that, Caitlin? I have 40 students in the class, and girls make up 60% of. So that's what you did there. 60% of the class, and you got 24. So that 24 is the total amount of girls. So you can think of 24 like a total, right? And now they're saying that 25% of girls wear glasses. So you had to come back again now with 25% of the total amount of girls wear glasses. And of course 25 over 100 is a quarter of the girls wearing glasses. So 6 4s are 24, and the answer is actually 6. Right? Caitlin, I am glad that I asked you that question. You exposed some weaknesses, which is really, really good. At the end of the day, remember, we are in this class to get things wrong. Right? And that is something that they don't focus on. They don't focus on failure in school, but I want to focus on failure here. And it's not that we want to fail, but if you had to fail, now is the time to do it. So you guys in this class, fail all you want, get any amount of questions wrong, because that is how you just learn. You just learn real good when you get things wrong, right? Caitlin, did you get 6 or did you get some other answer?
I got another answer.
You got what?
I got another answer.
Which one did you get?
I got 15.
Right. So when you did 24 over 40, multiply by what?
25 over 100.
25 over 100. That's tricky, right? Because 24 over 40 is 60%. And the 60% of 40 is 24, eh? Yeah. So this represents 60%. 24 is 60% of the 40. So what you're finding is you're finding 25% of the 60%. Right? And so you can see here that what we wanted to find is, I mean, will it work? 24 over 40 multiplied by 25%. I don't think it will work. And you got 15, right? 24 over 40 multiplied by a quarter, 6, and then 6 into 6, 1. Where's 6 into 40? 40 divided by 6 is our decimal. 1 over 6.66. So I don't know how you get 15 like that. I'm not sure, right? But you understand what I did here? You understand what we did, Caitlin? Alright, so that's the most important thing, right? It's really about reading the question and really understanding. And see that of is a real important word, yeah? The square root of 181 lies between. What do you do for this one without calculator? Yeah, that's fine. And this is the one that you could use trial and error, and this is one that you could use just critical thinking for this one. And at the end of the day, the answer is A. 12 12s are 144, right? So you know, so you had to study. Well, 144 is less than. So is the 13 more than 181? So you had to do 13 squared, and 13 squared is 13 times 13, which is 13 times 10 plus 3, which is 130 plus 3 3s are 9, 1 3 is 3, 39, which is 169. So 169 is still less than, you know, so definitely the 13 is less. So you had to find out about the 14 now. And you're getting real close to the 180 there. So chances are 14 squared is 14 times 14. 10 plus 4. That's 140 plus 4 4s are 16. Carry the 1 4 is 4, 1 is 5. So that's 196. So that's definitely there. So that means that your answer is definitely A. Yeah. And if anybody doesn't understand anything, fine, I'm moving too fast, want me to explain anything again, please let me know. Right? 99 times 101 has the same value as. It's distributive law. So you're supposed to recognize that 99 is multiplied by 101 is 100 plus 1. Yeah? So therefore 99 is being multiplied by 100 plus 1. And now I could do the multiplication by the distributive law. 99 times 100 plus 99 times 1. And that is C. This one. This is actually one of the last things that we did. So everybody should have got this right. The last things that we did in algebra, we actually did a rule. And that was literally in the class before the exam. We actually did this rule when we were looking at square roots and things. Anybody want to give me this one, Shizzy? Anybody, yeah? You don't have to be Shizzy. I just call his name because it's nice to see. Shizzy.
I put B.
B. Okay, why?
I was like, okay, I find the square root. Well, yeah, they gave us the square root of 8.2, which is 2.86. So I multiply 2.86 by 100.
Right.
Sorry, by 10.
Why the 10?
Because they asked for they put the square root of 10 squared, and 10 squared is 100, so the square root of 100 is 10.
Right. Now, that is a good job, and that's interesting. Interesting way of thinking about it, and you are absolutely right. It is B. But the reasoning, just to make sure, the rule that we did in the last class that covers this is this rule, that if you have the square root of x multiplied by y, because it's a multiply, you could actually separate them as the square root of x multiplied by the square root of y. Now that is the last rule that we did. So we can see here we have these two things being multiplied. What I have is the square root of 8.2 multiplied by 10 squared, and I just wrote it differently, but it's the same thing. So now I can actually split it up as the square root of 8.2 being multiplied by the square root of 10 squared, and of course square root is going to cancel with square, right? So I'll now have square root of 8.2 multiplied by 10, which is B, because they gave us the square root of 8.2 to be this. Ariel, you okay with this one?
Yeah, I got the third part. I did have the...
Oh, how did you do it? Same thing as she said?
No.
How you work it out?
So I worked out 8.2 by 10, but that's multiplying.
You use a calculator?
No.
Okay.
I took the point, right?
Right. So 8.2 times 100 or times 10?
100.
Alright, so 1, 2. So that will be the square root of 820, right?
Multiply by 10, which is...
Oh, so you have... I thought you multiplied the 8.2 by 10 squared. Because 10 squared is 100, so that would be the square root of what you're saying is 82 multiplied by 10.
And I get 8200, and I shift back the point.
I don't know how you get 8200. Yeah, 8200. Well, this is you should have gotten at the end of the day 100 square. 10 squared is 100.
Right.
So that means that you would have had to move those decimal places 1, 2 spaces. So that means that you would have gotten the square root of 820. I don't know how you get 8200. Right. So we seeing flaws in your
Okay, so how I get 8200? I had shift the point once. So 82 by 100, because I know 10 times is 100.
But why 82? Because it's 8.2.
Just to make it a whole number, and then I shift back the point.
Just. So yeah, alright, so you get the square root of 8200, because I'm real interested in knowing how you actually ended up with the correct answers. So from the square root of 8200, what next?
So I say 82 multiplied by 100, right?
Right.
And remember, I had shift the point once on 82 to get a whole number. So when I get 8200, I just shift back the point once, so that's how I get 820.
Right, 820.
And then I find square root of 820.
Using a calculator?
No.
How you find the square root of 820 then? You can't tell me you bust your brain. I mean, if you use a calculator, it's fine, you know. It's fine. It's no problem at the end of the day. Yeah. At the end of the day, nah, I don't think I think you use a calculator, you know. But you really bust your brain to find that?
No, what I do was I calculate 2.86 by 10.
So here what, right? There's a lot of thinking you're doing there. I want you to remember something. These questions here, you have 60 in a paper 1, maths paper 1. You have 60 of these questions to do in 90 minutes. Yeah? 60 questions in 90 minutes. If you're taking too long on a question, chances are you're doing something wrong. As you see here, every single thing that I did here was basically 2 lines, 3 lines for the most. And the thinking was as simple as possible. Right? The thinking for this question is to just remember this rule. And I'm sure you'll never forget that rule again. Right? Because whilst you got the correct answer, Ariel, it have too much holes in your argument, right? Especially when it comes to working out. That's real brain work, Dread. I don't like CSEC wicked now. If them want you to work out that. I mean, I could just imagine how much time you take to work that out, you know? So, I'm glad that you made such an effort, though. And at least it paid off in the end, you know? You got the answer, so that's great. I could do the easiest ones. Remember, -3 squared is negative by a negative, so that's a positive 9. And that's a positive 4, so the answer will be positive 13. I expect everybody here to get that correct, right? What number when added to 1 1/3 gives 2? Anybody? Caitlin, let me hear this one. Okay, so yeah. So you got 2/3. I understand what you're saying. Yes, I understand what you're saying. However, just remember, algebra is your friend, and what you did there, when a number is added to that, so when a number is added to 1 1/3 gives, you know, and algebra is your friend because you could just easily say that, okay, 1 1/3. So yes, that is, you know, 2 minus 1, and then you'll end up having 2 minus 1 is 1, so you'll end up having a third, 1 minus a third, which is what Caitlin was saying, which is 2/3, right? Right, our next ratio one. Anne and Betty shared a sum of money, and this is a real interesting question. So anybody have clues for this? Anne and Betty shared a sum of money in the ratio 2:3. If Anne received $60 less than Betty, what was the total amount of money shared? Any ideas? How to do this? Scotia.
So this was 1.76.
Sorry?
This
One would have been 60.
The ratio.
What do you mean, the ratio?
I don't know how to explain it the way I work it out, but I just realized the next way to work it out is to add up the ratios. So get 5 when you multiply 50 by 5.
Right. So what you're saying is that if you add up the ratios, 2 plus 3 equals 5. Right? So 5 is the total. Right? And so why does you multiplying the total by 60 though?
Because 60 is... I don't know how to explain.
Yeah, but you have to. Remember, this is about understanding and explanation. Anybody else want to give it a shot? Alright. Now as I say, algebra is a superpower, and I just use algebra for everything. Right? So at the end of the day, we can see here that Anne have 2 parts and Betty have 3 parts. So the total is 5 parts. So we know the total is 5 out of 5. And 5 out of 5, Anne have 2 out of 5, and Betty have 3 out of 5. So the ratio there of the total, right, whatever is the total amount of money, Anne has 2 out of 5, and Betty have 3 out of 5, right? So the total amount of money now, that means that Anne has 2/5 of the total, and Betty has 3/5 of the total, right? Makes sense so far, right? No, it doesn't. This does not. No, sorry, that was wrong. No, not yet. We don't put in X yet. So, Anne have 2/5 of the total and Betty have 3/5 of the total, right? Now, if Ann received $60 less, so Ann have 2/5 of the total. And what that is, that 2/5 there of the total is $60 less than what Betty got. So Ann have 2/5 of the total, right? And Ann received, the amount of money that Ann received is $60 less than what Betty received. So this is what Betty received, and what Betty received minus 60 is give me what Ann received. So now we have a little piece of algebra here that we can easily do. Let's just throw this 60 across here, and I'll throw this 2/5 across here. So now I'll have positive 60 is equal to the 3/5 x minus the 2/5 x. Okay. So now I have positive 60 is 1/5 x, which means that 60 is equal to x over 5. So therefore x is equal to 60 times 5, which is 300. So yes, the correct answer is 300. I do not care if you got the correct answer. I care about how, and you have to be able to explain it, which is why algebra is such a superpower, because you could easily see and understand once you could come up with this equation. And Ariel, Shazay, Caitlin, Scotia, do all of you guys understand how I came up with this equation here? I'll just cover it real quick, right? So you understand that the total is 5, right?
Yeah.
So that means that Ann has 2/5 of the total, and that means that Betty has 3/5 of the total, and right. So what we're saying is that Ann received, what Ann got here is $60 less than what Betty got, and so what Ann got is $60 less than what Betty got, and so Betty got 3/5 of the total, and that 3/5 of the total minus $60 is what Ann got, which is 2/5. You understand now? Right. So you understand how we got the equation, right?
Yeah.
And then from that equation, we just work it out. Feel free to stop me if you don't understand anything. Now, I did not do sequences with you guys, yeah? But at the end of the day, I just kind of included this question. I was going to take it out, but I say, you know what? It's actually an easy question, and it's a nice little piece of critical thinking. So let me see, who have a method for this? Did anybody find this?
I think I find it.
All right, how?
So when I saw the pattern, I realized that in between there was adding odd numbers.
So
And it increased by 2.
1 plus 5, eh?
Yeah.
And then 6 plus 7. And then this plus 9, eh?
Yeah.
And then this will be plus 11, eh? 22 plus 11 gives 33. So therefore 33 plus 13, eh? Will give you 52, is it? Or 46? 46.
44.
44? No. 33 plus 13. 3 and 3 is 6. 46. Are you getting 44 here?
I had it wrong.
Oh, it has happened.
But I had 11, plus 13.
Plus
so
13, yeah. And that is the madness. This is another reason why you should fear the paper one. Because in the paper 2, you'll get marks for your working. But in the paper 1, you ain't getting no marks for your working. In the paper 1, a machine correcting it. Yeah? So this is why you should be very fearful of the paper 1. Caitlin, I understand you all got this one?
Yeah.
You all sounding so
I don't know why, but I reached the end where it was plus 11, and for some reason I couldn't figure out what the next one was. So
maybe it was overthinking.
I think so.
Yeah, you didn't recognize that, hey, it's just going up by 2, it's just the odd numbers.
I didn't. I wasn't paying attention to that.
Yeah. Please remember that if you can't figure out something, chances are that you're overthinking, and chances are the question is actually a lot easier than you think it is, right? 49 is being multiplied by 17. 49 is also being multiplied by 3. So 49 is being multiplied by 17 and 3. So 49 is actually being multiplied to 20 in this case. Right? So I hope that everybody got that. Anybody need an explanation for this?
I got it wrong, I understand where I went wrong.
All right. Well, what did you put? What?
I had
See, 49 plus. So 49 times 17 and 49 times 3. I could see here a 49 is being multiplied. That's what 49 is doing. It's being multiplied by 17 and it's also being multiplied by 3. So we could see here, if we write it in this direction, we could actually see, if we work it in reverse, 49 times 17 plus 49 times 3. And so the answer is actually D. 19. Now, remember in the last question, we had a 0 on the end, and that 0 on the end totally messed us up, right? We could have gotten the question wrong because of that. But thankfully, this one here doesn't have any zeros on the end at all. We could see here that in this first problem here, it have 1 decimal place in the question and 1 decimal place in the answer. It had no zeros on the end, so I could literally just go and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that one we would have gotten correct by using our little rules. Okay. So just be careful if you end up with a 0 on the end of a whole number, then that is account for extra 10, and you have to be careful. It's best you do the multiplication and figure it out, right? Because an extra 10 means you have 1 less decimal space. So, somebody have a question? No? A test was marked out of 80. A boy scored 60%. Oh God, 60. I ain't even gonna let you do this. 60% of 80. How many marks did he score? Nah. 6 8 of 48. The answer is B. Right? We reached the algebra here now. So who's gonna give me this first algebra question?
this one and last one.
This one, okay, alright, no problem.
I put
Huh?
A.
A. Yeah, the correct answer is A. How did you get that?
So when I put
So we started off with 3 plus 2 over x is equal to 1. Ariel, you will cuss when you see how easy it is, right? Yes, so Scotia, let me see your method.
I didn't make it up as algebra. Now I just start everything by 1 and if the 2 becomes minus 2 and stuff.
That is good. So you substituted each one of these. So that is some backward thinking, but that's really excellent. What she did. Yeah, because you got, it just so happens that the right answer was A. And if the right answer was D though, you would have been doing them one at a time, eh? Yes, right? And I mean, I can't give you wrong. If you take the negative 1 and put it in there, then it'll become negative 2, because negative 2 divided by, 2 divided by negative 1 is negative 2. So 3 minus 2 is definitely 1, and it would have satisfied the equation. The problem is that if this answer was actually in D, then it would have taken you 4 tries or 3 tries before you got the right answer. Guys, you all need to know your algebra, please. Don't stop being afraid of algebra. Oh gosh, it's so easy, right? So, and I think that I gave you all enough exercises with it, right? At the end of the day, 2 divided by x plus 3, I need to get rid of this 3. I need to throw this 3 across. So now I'll just have 2 over x is equal to 1 minus 3. So 2 over x is equal to negative 2, right? And then if I want, because that x in the denominator is bothering me, so let me just throw the x across. So now I'll have 2 is equal to negative 2 multiplied by x. And now that I have x out of that denominator, I could take this negative 2 and fling it across, which will leave x alone on this side is equal to 2 divided by negative 2. X is equal to negative 1. Now at the end of the day, Scotia's way was a lot easier, but this was the way that you were supposed to do. Right?
I think I would have done it Scotia.
Yeah, you would have done it Scotia's way. Yeah, Scotia's way was definitely easier, but come on guys, you all need to know the simple transposition. I mean, is this hard for you all? Like, speak honestly, this question. Was this really hard?
I reached to the... Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I reached to the point where if I had 2x is equal to negative 2y, I can start this.
2x. You mean 2, you reach here?
Yeah, 2 over x, sorry, equal to negative 2.
Right, but you understand what I did, right?
Yes, sir.
Right? Now, it have many ways that you could have worked it out, right? And I'll just take this, and it have a piece, some magics that you all do here, right? It have another way that you could have worked it. Oh, sorry. Ah, crap. Come on. It have another way that you could have worked it out from here. From here, I would have 2 over x is equal to negative 2. Recognize that this is actually negative 2 over 1. Right? And now, what you could do is flip both sides to get x over 2 is equal to 1 over negative 2. You can actually flip both sides. And why does this work? I actually did this in one of the classes, in one of the examples there. Why does this actually work? Yeah, but in terms of flipping the fractions, right? Because what you're saying here is that 2 is equal to negative 2. You could literally just look at this and tell the answer, because 2 cannot be equal to negative 2. So that means that this negative sign probably had to be on the 1 instead, because you know that negative sign will make the whole thing negative, right? So you could tell there that if 2 is equal to 2, then x would have to be equal to negative 1 in order to make it negative. So that is one way, just by looking at it, right? The other way is that you can actually flip it. And why does the flipping thing work? And we did it in class. If I had, like, say, a half, 1 on 2 is equal. Would you say, let me show you why the flipping thing does work, right? Would you say that a half is the same as 5 on 10? Would you agree with it?
Yeah.
So now let's flip it. So if we flip the fractions on both sides, 2 over 1 is equal to 10 over 5. Do you agree with this?
Yeah.
Right. So we could see here that it is possible to flip your fractions. right? So you could definitely, once you have a fraction equals another fraction, what that means is that you have a numerator equal to a numerator and you have a denominator equal to a denominator, right? So when we flipped it, look, the x was still matched up with the 1, and the, so we didn't really change much by flipping. Yeah. So this flipping of fractions thing is a nice, cool little thing. Yeah. So what CSEC couldn't figure out is CSEC couldn't realize that you could have just throw across the x just like any other denominator in CSEC. And you are accustomed flinging denominators all over the place and leaving them all in the corner of your room and thing. So at the end of the day, you could fling the x same way. Yeah. And then just fling back the -2. Right? And this is the very subtle understanding of algebra that I need you guys to have. And I was really hoping that an introduction to algebra would have provided this knowledge. But it seems like you all need more practice. Yeah? What about this one? I have 6ab minus 2c. And what's the answer for this? Did we state the answer? Yes, a. The answer is a, -1. Right? Now at the end of the day, and just for the sake of time, a is equal to 5, b is equal to 2, c is equal to 4. So I literally just going to plug those values in. So 6a, which is 5, b, which is 2, minus 2c, which is 4. So that's 5 2s are 10, 10 times 6 is 60, minus 4 2s are 8, so the answer is 52. Okay? A simple matter of substitution. This here is your basic distributive law. So 5 times y is 5y. Doing it nice and slow, right? 5 times -2 is -10. Now I'll come into this side now. -3 times y is -3y. And then -3 times 4 is -12. And they're saying that all of that equals to 0. Now I could deal with the like terms. So I have 5y minus 3y is 2y. And I have -10 minus 12 is minus 22. That is equal to 0. So now I just fling the -22 across. 2y is equal to positive 22. Y is equal to 22 divided by 2. Y equals 11. How much of you all got this wrong? Don't feel shame. So I might ask you, huh?
I didn't know.
Alright, okay, that's fine. You understand what I did here though?
Yeah.
Yeah, and does it seem easy to you?
Yeah, by distributing the law, yeah.
Yeah, so that's all they had to really do. Once you see brackets and things, then right. So this one here is just another matter of simple substitution, but it does have a little trickery in it. They say that m is -2, so they want you to find the value of p. So p is equal to m cubed all over 2 minus m. And what they're saying is m, not minus m, not m squared, not m cubed, but m is -2. So I am going to put -2 wherever I see m. We can have an m here and an m here. So I'm going to put -2 cubed all over 2 minus m, which is -2. And that is a little mistake you all would have made. Some people would have just put the 2 alone. So now we would have had this -2 cubed is -2 times -2 times -2. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. So positive 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. So the numerator is negative 8, and the denominator, 2 minus negative 2, a double negative gives you a positive. 2 plus 2 is 4. So your answer is negative 2a. Anybody got this correct?
Yes, sir.
Alright, Scotia, Caitlin, how you doing so far? You getting these things right? Well, in the numerator or the denominator? Yeah, you put positive 8.
Yeah.
So your answer was D2. And you see they was ready for you, eh? They was ready for you, yes. So this is two reasons why your paper 1 multiple choice is the most dangerous exam, and it is the exam that you should fear the most. Because now the first reason is that they already thought of all of your mistakes, and they're ready for you. They already put all of your mistakes there. So when you make a mistake and you see the answer, you just get this feeling like, yes, I get it right. But no, they done planned for you. That is the first reason. The next reason is that you cannot get marks for your weekend. Yeah? So that is 2 dangerous reasons why the paper 1 is crazy, right? It's the most dangerous of all of the papers, right? 3x squared times 2x cubed is a simple matter of indices. So 3 times 2 is 6, 3 2s are 6x, and then you add your indices. So 2 plus 3 is 5, 6x to the 5th. I hope everybody get that right with the amount of time that we spent on laws of indices, right? 7 times the product of 2 numbers a and b. So the product of 2 numbers a and b is a multiplied by b. It could also be written as ab. And then 7 times that will be 7 times ab, which is a. What does this word reciprocal mean? We spoke about it in one class briefly. Anybody remembers? Sorry? When you flip it. Oh. In reciprocal could also be known as the inverted or inversion of the number. So if I have a number 2, the reciprocal of 2 will be a half. Yes, when you quote unquote flip it, right? So essentially the product, so we know we're multiplying of what? A number p and its reciprocal. So the reciprocal will be 1 over p, maybe written as c. P times 1 over p, right? 28. This is just a matter of a distributive law. Again, we did this in class. You just take this x and multiply it by everything in these brackets here. So x times 3x is 3x squared. And then the same x times 4 will be positive 4x. And now I take this negative 2 and multiply it by everything in the other brackets. So negative 2 times 3 is negative 6x. And negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. So now I could simplify 3x squared. This here, 4 minus 6 is minus 2x minus 8. That is C. You all got this right?
Yes, sir.
Alright, Caitlin, I'm not here. Caitlin? Caitlin, is your spirit animal like a bunny? You need to find out what your spirit animal is, people. Yeah.
I do not know what is our spirit animal.
You need to meditate and ask. You need to ask the Anunnaki. You need to meditate and communicate with the Anunnaki, and they will tell you what your spirit animal is. So, anyways, we have here a simple laws of indices question. So you know that the bases are all the same. So once the bases are the same, we can do the laws of indices. So a to the m times a to the n is a to the add the indices, and that's being divided by a to the q. And we know that when you're dividing, you minus your indices. So we'll have a to the m plus n, which is the numerator, minus q. Alright? And this d here is the closest answer to that. Right? Of course, you could just remove the brackets there, a to the m plus n minus q. Nice. So I hope everybody getting these right. I'm trying to finish by 7:30 so that we could get early night tonight. When 8 is... Ooh, somebody give me this one. Somebody give me this one.
Is it x minus 8 multiplied by 3 is equal to 21?
Like that?
Yeah.
Right, and what do you do here now? What do you have to do first?
Throw over the 3.
Right, but you wrote it wrong, eh?
Really?
Yeah, you wrote it wrong, but throwing over the 3 is correct though. So throwing over the 3 would have put you on the right path to the right answer. But this is actually written wrong, right? Because this, by BODMAS, says that you need to do this multiplication first. So this is really x minus 24. Yeah? Which is 21. Right? And now you throw over the minus 24 to get positive 24. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah? So be careful. When 8, now by throwing over the 3, you did the right thing. So you probably got the correct answer in the end. But when 8 is subtracted from a certain number, so once they start to talk this certain number talk, I will say x. X is a certain number, and then 8 is being subtracted from it. The result, so whatever this ends up being, is multiplied by 3. You see the correct way to write it now, sir?
Yes, sir.
Right, so that way you don't make that BODMAS mistake with 8 times 3. It's not the 8 that is being multiplied by the 3. It is whatever the result of this is. So that is why you put it in brackets. So when you work your brackets first, you get the answer. The result will be multiplied by 3. Now you throw the 3 across. X minus 8 is equal to 21 divided by 3. X minus 8 is 7 3s are 21. So x minus 8 equals 7. X is equal to 7 plus 8. Where's 7 plus 8? 15?
Yes.
Right, so D is the answer. Good job there, sir. Right? This is another distributive law question. The third distributive law question that we gained. 5 times 2 is 10x. And then 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. And that is equal to 35. Therefore, 10x is equal to 35 plus 5. 10x is equal to 40. X is equal to 40 divided by 10. X is equal to 4. Ariel, you work out this one?
No, I didn't do the last two.
Right. So I've seen a lot of the algebra questions you skipped, right?
Yeah.
Right, but you understand what we're doing here, right?
Yeah.
That is the most important. And you're seeing how easy they end up being, yeah?
Yeah.
You know, it's and you especially, Ariel, have this way of overthinking. You know, you guys, and Ariel, you're brilliant from what I remember from the last time. So so I definitely had to watch out for overthinking with you. This one now, let me see who have this one for me. A is the correct answer. Very good. You want to explain how?
Well, I put J for John is equal to X.
J for John, and John have X marbles, yes.
And M for Max is equal to 2X.
Right.
Minus 5.
Right.
So I put J is equal to X plus 5.
Right, very good. So let me just explain it a little bit better. We have John and we have Max. John has X marbles, so we put X there. Max has twice as many marbles as John, so Max have 2X. Right? Max gives John 5 marbles. So 5 marbles gonna move from Max to John. 5 marbles here. So that means that Max going to have 5 marbles less. And John is gonna have 5 marbles more. How many marbles does John now have? X plus 5. Yeah? Number 33. This one is super easy, even though it looks really tough. The sum of two numbers x and y, so we know that the sum of two numbers x and y is equal to 18, and their difference, so x minus y, is 14. So is there anything that matches that? Yes, C. X plus y is 18, x minus y is 14. And then the last one here. The last one, and it's actually because remember one of the questions were repeated, so it's actually out of 33, not 34, right? 33 is the total, right? So or if you want, you can put it out of 34 and count the repeated question twice, no problem, right? Right. So the area of a rectangle, what do I know about the area of a rectangle? It's length by breadth. Yeah? And they're saying here that the area of the rectangle is x squared. So x squared is the area, and that is length by breadth. Right? The equation that may be used to find the value of x is, well, length by breadth. So x squared is equal to the length, which is this, x minus 4, times the breadth, which is 2. So therefore, x squared is equal to 2x minus 4. That is A.